Yes, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas or Central Bank of the Philippines is the Philippines monetary authority as well as the banking supervisor. In addition to this, we also supervise several other types of specialized financial institutions. Financial inclusion has steadily become an important strategic objective for the central bank. Like many central banks, we are focused on the core concerns of monetary stability and also financial stability. We have not lost that agenda. That remains very part of the agenda. What's new is the connection that we are making between these two important strategic objectives with financial inclusion. Now, that's not a very traditional objective for a central bank. But for the Philippines, it makes a lot of sense. If you look at the demographics and the geographical profile of the Philippines as well as the economic distribution, it makes a lot of sense to think about financial inclusion if you are designing policies that you want to make relevant to a broader segment of the population. Typically, the financial system in many developing country contexts touches only a very small, although important segment of the economy. But by weaving in the financial inclusion agenda into the more traditional objectives, we are able to reach out to the greater population and actually come up with policy making that matters for the population. I think the big challenge is, first of all, getting people to focus on the common agenda and a common strategy. I think the idea of financial inclusion is easy enough to sell, but how do you approach it in practical terms poses very significant challenges, especially when you have different kinds of actors that operate on different frameworks with different motivations. For example, in the Philippines, financial inclusion strategy has always been focusing about developing partnerships, not just within government, but also between the government and the private sector. So you need to develop common ground while addressing each other's different motivations. So that's a challenge in getting people to focus on the topic and come up with effective national solutions. SME development has been a continuing challenge for us. There are many factors to consider. From the perspective of the providers of SME financial services, there is a hesitancy to reach out to a market that is perceived to potentially provide more risks, especially when there are easier or lower hanging fruits to reach out. Although more recently, with competition heating up at the more traditional and the lower hanging fruits, financial providers are looking at this market more extensively, and as a result, we're seeing more innovation addressed to this. Governments also need to get their act together in addressing this. Actually, part of the challenge is just coming to a clear understanding on policies that work, as opposed to policies that seem to be good but have actually unintended consequences. The typical examples of this are policies that, in their desire to reach objectives quickly, try to force the issue, like directed credit programs, which in the end turn out to be counterproductive. So what I'm saying is it's very important to get the thinking right at the outset. And that is a very important discussion to have, and that's an obstacle because right now in the market you'll see different kinds of solutions that are not necessarily working together for the same common objective. Our approach has been right now the BSP institutionally has organized itself to focus on this issue and integrate this with our other objectives. And at the same time, as we get our thinking straight on the matter, we are proceeding to enlarge the engagement. The next stage for us is to expand the engagement with other financial regulators, because the central bank is not the only financial regulator. And we recognize that to be able to deliver a comprehensive set of financial products that the low income and the unbanked need, you actually need to think beyond banking products. You need to think about insurance products like microinsurance products. You need to think about payments products. And for that, you have no choice but to engage other financial regulators. And then at the next level, we have to engage other government agencies. For example, the social welfare ministry, because they are in charge of conditional cash transfers. And this is an important element in any financially inclusive policy that tries to develop solutions that have an immediate impact to low-income sectors. So our approach is to keep expanding the circle of interested policymakers, and along the way clarify the regulatory framework, which is our way of engaging the private sector, which must ultimately provide the kind of financial services that are responsive to financial inclusion work. For SME, we're trying to, at one level, we're trying to put in place essential infrastructure for the Philippines. So right now, we are working on the establishment of a Central Credit Information Bureau, which is very important in breaking the information barrier that has traditionally prevented, for example, credit providers from supplying credit to SMEs, where information can be a challenge. We are also, trying to organize our policies, including on the taxation aspect, because in many respects, SMEs are really informal businesses. They don't have complete paperwork. And it's a challenge because if you try to weave in tax efficiency and financial inclusion policy, sometimes this can be clashing issues. Also, on the regulatory front, our big challenge is to develop proportionate and enabling regulations that encourage the provision of financial services to the low income. So these are works in progress that we are advancing across the board over the next 5 years. At the same time, we are also escalating the what we call the financial literacy and consumer protection angle to this, because our thinking is that as we develop and roll out more financial services, we are actually reaching out to potentially more vulnerable financial consumers. So we'd like to make sure that the financial services that are being made available will be used to advantage of those newly receiving those financial services. Yes, I think the Maya Declaration was an opportunity to for countries that were already prepared to do so to come out and make a public commitment that they will be moving in this direction. For the Philippines, our Maya Declaration commitment has become a focal point for organizing our national strategy. So it gives us a reference point, something that we are committed to deliver on. So that's why we have been encouraging the AFI members to consider their own Maya Declaration so that they will have a rallying point to build national strategies upon. For SMEs, I think that is an important element of the whole range of services that we are looking at. I think there has been considerable success in engaging micro enterprises. But the next step really is to fill up that potential gap between the micro and informal enterprises and the larger enterprises. And the SME is that important space which actually generates a lot of employment for the population. So we need new solutions, better solutions to make SMEs, to provide them with more access to finance. And I think that's still a work in progress at this point of time. Okay. Our membership in AFI has been extremely helpful to us in many ways. First of all, the Philippines has both been a contributor and beneficiary of the knowledge products that have been generated and are continuously being generated by the AFI community. We also value very much the network that we have been able to access to the AFI community. Again, in the case of the Philippines, we have been very open to welcoming other AFI member countries and who have an interest in the kind of solutions, pragmatic solutions that we have developed, to share what we know. At the same time, we have also benefited from the reciprocity of other members, where we use the opportunity to learn from their experience and leverage their knowledge into ours, so that we don't have to reinvent many of the issues. And these are complex issues that have to be dealt with. Right now, I think we are moving in a direction that's relatively new, in the sense that now we're talking about national strategies. My recall is when we first got engaged in the AFI process, we were focused on products. The initial hook for us was the mobile financial services. But this has since progressed, because as we roll this out, the complexity of the issue became evident. And I think this is going to be the experience of many AFI members as they deepen their engagement and look at the financial inclusion agenda in all its complexity. The national strategy approach will clearly present itself as a good way of organizing all of these efforts, so that you can get effective and measurable results. So to me, that's an important evolution of the AFI process.